magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Shannon and Megan.
Hi, everyone.
Also known as the Scorpio Sisters, here to explore the mysterious, the magical, and the arcane.
Because we are all made at our basest level of sound and light, and so is the rest of our universe, it means that we can align our frequency with different parts of the universe to reach out and use energy in different parts of our solar system. We can reach out and affect the frequencies around us. That's essentially how magic works, right? We're aligning our vibration, we're aligning our frequency with what we want to manifest in the world. So when we're gathering together our materials for a working, or we're stopping to say a prayer to our deity, or drawing a sigil on the bottom of our feet, we're taking an action that puts us in harmony with where we want to be. And this is important to understand about manifestation, because the opposite also is true.
And easy.
It's very easy. So we've all heard about the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is such an enigma. It can be difficult to understand. When we're manifesting, we align our frequency with what we want to manifest by placing our focus there. It's how we place our focus. It is not embracing toxic or false positivity and being afraid that every negative emotion that we have is going to screw up our lives, because that simply isn't true.
Well, it becomes true if you focus enough on it, right?
Yes.
If you put all of your focus, thoughts, all of your energy on not in alignment with what you want to manifest in your life, chances are you're resonating at the level of getting the negative, not the positive. It's not necessarily that you should never suppress your negative emotions. You should never deny them. You should never deny those negative thoughts. You should experience them, but allowing them to fester where the manifestation of negativity can happen versus allowing the manifestation of the positive outcome you want to happen.
Exactly. That's why when we go to therapy, when we talk about self-care, we often talk about practicing gratitude, because what that does is it opens up our frequency to allow it to harmonize with the things in our experience that we enjoy, that bring us benefit. So, and it refocuses your attention on the beautiful relationship you have with your partner, or that adorable thing that your child always does when you come home, or the way that your pet does silly things all day long, or the fact that you got to listen to 3 of your favorite songs on your way to work. It's where most of your attention lies, is how you manifest. So if most of your attention is on gratitude and the things that you enjoy in your life, you're going to align your frequency with those things and pull more of that experience into your life. So with negative emotion, as Shannon was saying, it's not that you should deny negative emotion or be afraid to have a negative emotion, because then that's where your attention is focused.
Yeah. It's kind of like a clogged drain, right? You may not want to acknowledge it, or you're ignoring it, or you're quote unquote unaware of it, but it's still clogging your drain. It's going to back things up, and it's going to cause a mess.
Yes. So how do you unclog your drain? You do that by just allowing the negative experiences and the negative emotions to pass. You sit down, you acknowledge them, you listen to them because they're messages. There's a reason that you're feeling anxious. There's a reason that you're angry. There's a reason that you're depressed or resentful. So you sit down and you say, okay, why are you coming to visit me? The Greeks actually believed that emotions were entities that would come and visit us because we're our emotions. And when you sit with them, you can learn what they're trying to tell you, and then you can be grateful for that negative emotion and what it taught you.
Especially what it taught you. So that way you don't fall into the same repetitive pattern.
Exactly. And that allows you to align your frequency even more closely with manifestation, because you can look at this problem that you're having and go, oh, I understand how to react to this now. And you spend less time with that negative experience.
So earlier we had mentioned how the whole essence of something, whether it's the holographic universe itself, whether it's a rose, whether it's you being part of the whole or a part of you is resonating, and the essence of you is within a smaller piece of you. There's a particular branch of magic that embraces the holographic universe well before understanding the holographic universe came into our consciousness, our society, and it's called sympathetic magic. It's an old branch that has been around for centuries. Sympathetic magic is the understanding that a thing of a whole still contains the essence of the whole. So you'll see this happen a lot when people are making magical bags, puppets, if they're doing work that involves drawing something to them or binding something to them. That's a negative magic that I don't suggest to do. Manipulating someone else's will is not something I endorse, but it happens frequently with that. And what ends up happening is that you take a piece of a thing and you can either put it in the bag or put it inside the poppet or on the poppet that represents that person or thing. And that thing is then a miniature of that which you're working on. If you have a poppet that you want to make for yourself, as Megan has mentioned she's doing in the previous podcast with Magpie Magic, if she wanted to do something that was sympathetic magic or more heavier in the sympathetic magic, she could take a piece of her fingernail and sew that into the poppet. Don't do this, Megan. Sew it into the poppet, and because her fingernail is a fragment or a fracture of her whole holographic universe understanding, that poppet now is a small fracture of her. It contains and represents her essence. And that's when you can do the healing grids, as again Megan mentioned in the previous podcast. That's when people can do very negative magics on others if they get a hold of certain essences of you. I highly suggest that you go through and determine what pieces of you still apply to that. Personally, I do not think that the white parts of your fingernails or the hair that grows from your head or anywhere else on your body applies anymore, because they're dead. If they're dead, they've no longer contained the present you. But that is up to each and every single person to determine for themselves.
Right. Personally, I actually take the opposite view, that your hair and your fingernails do contain your essence because they were produced from your body, regardless of the fact of whether they have They have life in them still, just like the shed skin cells that we shed would contain your essence, your DNA. This is just an example of how different people practice magic.
I go to the understanding of, if it's dead, it doesn't hold the same DNA anymore. My DNA has changed, even fragment, like a tiny bit of it has changed. But if our telomeres are continuously getting shorter and shorter, if I shed skin, those telomeres are now different.
Yeah.
That's why I don't consider my fingernails or my hair or my dead skin cells to be applicable in sympathetic magic, because my telomeres have changed, thus my DNA has changed.
Okay.
Like you said, this is just how different people practice, and that's why we definitely need to sit down and think about it ourselves, for ourselves, and gather an understanding of how we practice, why we practice, and the science behind it.
Yeah. So since you would not place hair or fingernails within a poppet for healing yourself, what would you add to that effigy to perform healing magic on yourself outside of your own body?
Blood.
Okay.
Especially if I have menstrual blood, that particular cycle when I'm doing it.
Okay.
Saliva. Like, saliva technically has the bacteria that's in your gut in it.
Okay.
To break down things. It might not be the entire army of them, but part of the way in which we start breaking down food is because of our saliva. And the reason why we can break down food is because we have bacteria in our gut.
Right.
So saliva would be another one if I was trying to heal, especially physically. If I'm trying to heal from an illness, I'm going to spit into it.
That makes sense. Tears?
More of a emotional healing for me, but that's because I associate tears and salt with purging your emotional troubles.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that's how I would use sympathetic magic. That's my understanding of it.
That's all we have on our topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again soon. In the meantime, you can follow us for more witchy wisdom, both here and on our blog, and you can also check out our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thanks again for joining us. Go make some magic and live your best life.
Bye!